Ladies and gentlemen, I am the last reader, James Brown and Kepple. It's weird introducing yourself, but I will do so. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give it up for James Brown and Kepple. This is from a book I put out in 2019 entitled "To Avoid Being Crushed." I was going to start the reading off with the weaponization of Martin Luther King, or I was going to go straight to the title. What do you think? Go for the Martin Luther King. MLK? All right. So this is, for Jackie Robinson Poetry Day, this is the weaponization of Martin Luther King. I stood outside in the street sirens, frozen to the indelible winds of ocean, and monitored the silky screens of data pushing the words of an assassinated preacher. A memorial began as the cold hit the spine, working on a holiday of misgivings, lurching through back pockets, a coldness to the bone that shivered out misbegotten quotes. I walked past the political rallies in Harlem, radicalized individuals pushing agenda. I head down, took another car to destination, punched my timesheet and moved on. The surly blast of wind roared through the corridor of Manhattan, an icy vortex devoid of snow, parlayed a brutish force of pressure upon skin, upon wherewithal, as hooded and scarved we move. We dance for dollar dalliance, to wake to food-stamped, non-hungry bellies. They have weaponized Dr. King, put his face on a terrorized sense of self-identity, where one begins to melt to the liquid nitrogen of truth. If one was to truly study the path of the Apostle Paul, a southern Turkish baguette for love and tolerance, the article begins to unfurl a truth weapon, that peace has become the weapon of the unrighteous. Cold, hard, gunmetal gray skies open in moment, a sense of the sun, a true break in measure of supernova, eclipse of the moon, blood or woebegone we measure in such increments, a denature of human sovereignty. Denounce the spare particulars of a love gone wrong. And love is never wrong. Love is the answer. And they have infiltrated this dear, tender love and filled it full of cyanide, offered it turret revolvings of the death in the human soul to pray thus, for warmth is a true, honest communion. For when digits freeze over red and painful, the blues tend to sink in and leave one dead and wandering. For once, they left a man to die alone and transcend. Now we cryogenic our hearts with lies of beauty, inject the ugly personage of hate, and mingle in a few cells with that of a moral and unforgiving God. They killed Martin again today, nailed his soul to the door, not for a writ against immoral texting and happenstance, but for the mere pennies of silver thrown at the feet of a hanged man separated in neck. The beating beauty of neuroconnection transforms our own due diligence in vessel transubstantiate, and said, this is your meal thrown to the floor, this is your wasted morsel, cock gun and push terse elemental alchemy to flesh a naked human, alone and distraught, discarded to the stone walkway, writhing in one last stand for humanimality, one more breath to be taxed in carbon and say, this your enemy, God. Thank you. So, yeah, but, okay, so is the table fine? We gotta get somebody. St. Louis? Yeah. Can you manage the table? Take the bucket? We're all, if you guys want to purchase some of these amazing books at undergroundbooks.ir, we have over 70 titles from people all over the world. We have a table on the other side. The guy that just brought the bucket with the money says that the table's abandoned, so we're sending people out. This is to avoid being crushed. Tear out your interlinear cloud of net. Tie down your earhead diaphragm, solitude sanctimonious. Decide for yourself where you begin, and then locate those others who happed out of the matrices. Boil the maker within your own inner harbor. To avoid being crushed, Take out those self-sacrifices, reload back your sense of self-identity, remake genetic dirt. These are the crushed moments, aluminum. These are the questions that make you regale one against all. Forget their modicums of loathsome burden teardrops, saline granules of dearth, one's lonesome shoulder-bearing joints. Cry that you are left behind and lick those salacious adherents marble. Make the words your own. Bend them against your will, tooth nail and pick a push essence to stone. Face your Davids, find the keys of those left behind. Look out for the asteroids, detect early cracks in proceedings. Your body is not that of a canned material, it is fragile. Make it personal. Make it a crash course in rock versus all. You are the pendulum. Push the needle, hang the razor, and luck out to see your better pasture. This is to say, fly amidst constant, fly amidst their warrantless pursuit. Keep pressing the keys like a mad Mozart tied to the chain Prometheus, and bring the gods' flames closer to wick. Tethered to your wax, fly Icarus to the threshing floor. Burn the ground, scorch this chaff earth that they have belied intent. Make the boulders wither, your steam and nature wept. Make the heat of one's cauldron descend of stratosphere doubt, and do it with a smile. For if no upbent lip, then what more binds us graveled, shaken protectors of elements? What more than if the wound carries such great weight that you continue to anchor heavy these thoughts? Cut with a scimitar of beak, break their spine with your prattle of vocabulary, break their empty hollow bones, whittled in hope. For as a child in pram, we all gather, pushing a rolled shot forced, the child of a new age, belonging in hearth, forcefully gestates and or mutate, a new philosopher of earth left in rotation. Rotate, ricochet, bundle of sticks, gravitize the binding, force nature to your beckon, and denounce in the name of space. I will no longer be a victim of fate. I, a sharpshooter of celestial orbit, will not bow to fake ornamental media wars. I, a child of gods, come to eat of the planets, come to seek a hunger in molten Jupiter barreling within veins, to burst mold given. You do this, and no sledge shall pierce inner light. No pulse of electroconnectivity shall mount your horse and bit. Spit out your granite grit of nature. Protest it from being. Expunge all that is around you to harvest such an indelible burst of truth that shall melt, reform the mass of molecules, bubbling heat, and creates. Just push the keys to avoid the crush. Thank you.